Assalamualaikum and a good day. I bid to Dr. Susanna and all my fellow friends. So today we are from Group 2B. We are going to present on question number 7. So first of all, I would like to introduce all my group members. My name is Isrina Yasmin binti Muzani. My metric number is 146852 and I'm the group leader. Then we have Nur Ainin Sofia, Irdina Amira, Alia Batrisha, and Nur Alia. In today's presentation, we will discuss the benefits of sharing international children's literature with local children. These are the list of benefits that each of us will explain further. I will start the presentation with sharing the benefits number 1. So my point is sharing international literature with local children will help to shape children's development. But first of all, the definition of children's development is the series of physical, verbal, mental, and emotional changes that occur in a child from birth through the onset of maturity. International literature helps to shape children's development because it promotes empathy and unity. When children read international literature, it will foster positive self-esteem and prevents children from feeling isolated. This is because international literature has the ability to nurture respect, empathy, and acceptance among all children. For example, the story or book Whoever You Are by Fox illustrates perfectly how international literature can promote unity among different cultures. The story highlights the fact that all children feel the same emotion no matter where they live in the world, what language they speak, or how they look. It suggests that although people have many differences, there are common traits that unite us. Another text that focuses on commonalities is Mirror, written by Jenny Baker. So the design of this book is very unique because it has two storylines sit side by side and are to be read simultaneously. This picture book is about the day in the life of two boys, the one who lives in Australia and the one who lives in Morocco. So it reveals the external differences and inner similarities that define their lives. This book teaches children that they should not be fearful of those who may seem different from them, as their daily life and routine may be very much the same. So it will help children to understand that despite our many differences, all children or people share common feelings and aspiration. And those feelings can include love, sadness, fear, and the desire for fairness and justice. Next, it promotes cross-cultural friendship. It promotes the interaction of children across different ethnic backgrounds, and it fosters the belief that race is not a barrier, but rather a contribution to the beauty of our world. This idea or ideal is portrayed in Cobalt's My Two Blanket, written by Irene Cobalt. So this story is about a young girl named Cartwheel relocates to a westernized country to escape the war that is occurring in her homeland. She feels lost and lonely until she meets a young girl in the park. Over the time, their friendship develops and the young girl helps Cartwheel to understand her new world. This theme also mirrored in Just One Wish, a lovely story by Sally Pind about overcoming diversity. Penny, a new arrival to Australia, initially struggles with the English language and she feels alienated until she befriends her hearing-impaired art teacher, Mr. Whitehorse. Okay, moving on to the third point, international literature helps to develop emotional intelligence in children. So why? It is because it contains numerous moments of crisis when character make moral decision and contemplate the reason for their decision. It shows how and it teaches the children how the character of the story or tale or text cope with difficulties. So I give two examples here. The first one is The Scar, written by Mondlik. It is the book about a boy whose mother dies. This requires a complex level of emotional intelligence, as many young children do not understand death. The topic of death would be more appropriate for an older grade level, but it is also an important topic to discuss with students. Another book that encourages emotional intelligence is Selma by Bauer, which discusses what it takes for a young sheep to be happy. It is a story within a picture book and challenges students or children to think about what happiness really is. So through the sharing of literature, it will encourage children to think deeper about their feelings because not all literature discuss about this aspect or genre in their book, text, or story. It will help students to cultivate their points of strength, such as self-confidence and resilience. Last but not least, international literature helps to shape children's development because it fosters personality and social development. Literature is presenting moral principle in an enjoyable and engaging way, and it also offers children with set of moral examples. This is important in children's development because as children grow up, they begin to take into account the feelings and viewpoint of others. Personality and social development of children can be influenced by the awareness on many aspects of life that they can get from reading international literature and can transform them into responsible citizens. The famous examples fulfilling this criteria can be found in Pinocchio, written by Carlo Lorenzini or Carlo Collodi, to make children aware about the consequences of adopting wrong behaviors. Similarly, in The Dream Brothers, the book presented noble values and positive models in their amazing adventures, helping children to understand what is good and what is bad. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good day to Dr. and everyone. I'm Nuraini Sofia binti Muhammad Shukri. My metric number is 147309 and I'm going to continue this presentation with my point, which is an eye-opener for children. So why it is an eye-opener for children? It is an eye-opener for children because children may see and evaluate through the differences of culture and belief through reading international books. Because through reading the international book, they will know the differences between the culture and belief here local with the international one. For example, from the book that we learned this semester, which is The Diary of Mayan, it shows us the Chinese Muslim culture there, like how different Muslim community there and here from the way that they dress. Like there, mostly that wear scarf or hijab is mainly the adult women, while here in Malaysia, female Muslim, regardless of the age, mostly wear hijab. Maybe because it due to a very small Muslim community there, while here we live in Islamic countries, so we're like more exposed about belief and religion. Second, it's opened their eyes through history of the place or country, because children not only read for pleasure and enjoyment, but also children will gain knowledge that will broaden their minds. They may learn history of some countries through the story. For example, from the book that we also learned this semester is The War That Saved My Life, that shows how Europeans lived during the World War II and the struggle that they faced during the time. Next, the book that I choose names Unspeakable, the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1920s. So this book is mainly about the struggle of Black community and racial violence in history of America, when groups of white people attacked Black residents and burned homes and their businesses. So I surely believe that it will help to open children's eyes, and children will know the importance of other country history. Next, it offers diverse perspective, so children may learn and see a world outside of their world, because they learn something that they will not imagine that happen or still happening in this world. For example, the war and the tradition that they never heard about, the struggle, problem, or how education is in another country. So with this, it will enhance their ability to be an open thinker that accept diverse and different perspective and belief. Because while read international book, they will realize that not all events and struggle the character face happen here, luckily. For example, impoverishment in the Diary of Mayan, the community there struggles with impoverishment. They are really poor. They barely can eat without, need to work hard, while here in Malaysia, we have basic necessities, we have clean water and food. And the other book, which is The War That Saved My Life, children will know that there's children that have struggles with disabilities. And the other book called Anne of Green Gables, it shows the main character, Anne Shirley, who is an orphan, and she's struggling with condition called ADHD. So children mainly, they would learn through the character, so like how people live. And the other example, like the broken house in Lola Rose, and again, the people in impoverishment, which is Mayan. Finally, it allowed them to self-reflect. So children can self-reflect when they identify the similarities and differences of the story or the character's life with their own life, through the character, theme, setting, character's belief, history, and country, and more. For example, this is like the book that I chose. First is Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes by Lana Kuo. So this book is about the optimism that Sadako, the main character, has despite the struggle she's going through when the spread of radiation in Hiroshima, Japan, happened. So I think if children read this book, they will adore the main character, Sadako, because she's such an inspiration. She's really strong-willed and really optimistic about everything. And the next example is from the book Rita and the Giants. So this book is about the effort and the braveness of the girl named Greta to beat the giants in order to save the forest, which is also her home. So I think if children read this book, it will increase their awareness of the global climate crisis, because this book mainly about nature and how to save the world. So finally, I do think with this point, children will have the ability to reflect, because they may realize that there are differences between people all around the world. We are live in different life, because not all people have the same life. Different peoples means that different way of living, different struggles, and also commitment. And I'm really sure that with this, it will help to awaken their gratitude, to be more grateful, and to be resilient in their life. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Good day to Dr. Susanna and my fellow friends. My name is Erdina Amira binti Ridwan, matrix number 146532. Now, I will continue the presentation with the next benefits. So the third benefits are it will help in children's cognitive development. Both local and international literature are good for children's cognitive development, but international literature will develop the cognitive skills better when they receive exposure from different or common things and perspective compared the literature they learn within the country. So, how international literature helps in children's cognitive development? The first one is it will enhance children's abilities to perceive and understand information by linking it with worldview. Children will be able to view every information, settings, or events they learn from international literature from a larger point of view, which is from the international or from other country view. The studies help them to think differently and deeper, not only in the context of local literature. As the children's imagination improve, this will help them to understand the information and the text better. For example, based on the Diary of Mayan, it will help children to realize that abject poverty is a cross-country issue. It will open children's eyes that poverty issues is happening around the world and how poverty will give impact to children's education and also their journey to achieve success in life. The next one is children will have a better view on how poverty can affect their daily life. For example, in the Diary of Mayan, Mayan having difficulties while receiving education, her parents need to work harder even though they are old in order to raise Mayan and her other siblings, her brothers. The last one is children will have deeper understanding and knowledge about gender inequality in other countries. Mayan was asked to drop out from school and instead of her brother because she is a girl, and the stereotype that her parents have is that her brother need education more than Mayan because she is a girl. So when children read the Diary of Mayan, it will enhance their abilities to perceive and understand information by linking it with the worldview. And they will realize that abject poverty is a cross-country issues, how the poverty can affect their life, and also they will have deeper understanding about gender inequality that is happening around the world. The next one is it will help to improve children's language skills. So, studying international literature will help children to widen their knowledge in languages. This will help children to acquire their second language or foreign language for utterances. Other than that, children can learn slang, dialect, and other grammatical structures, so they will have better understanding about the text. Learning international literature will help children to narrow down the language barrier and help them to process the information from the text. Another example is from the short story record by Kate Chopin. The short story used dialects in the text as the narrative took place in the rural Louisiana. The dialects actually can help children to improve their language skills and enhance their knowledge and understanding about the text. So, for children, if the children is weak in learning languages, they will find information about the text to increase their understanding and knowledge. Meanwhile, for children who is already doing well with the language and dialect, using the text, they will instantly understand the text better. So that is how international literature help children to improve their language skills. That's all from me. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Alia Badrisha binti Rosman and my matric number is 149060. So, before I start my part, I would like to inform that there is changes regarding my topic, which is now is known as Children's Literature to promote student global development and well-being. So the first one is why I picked this topic is that we all know that tales were transmitted from one generation to another, and then it's also enriching young people and with values, belief, imaginations and creativity. And then children literature also still play a crucial part in education as it provides knowledge and entertainment and representing a typical example of edu entertainment, which is meant by education and entertainment. So in my part, I would like to highlight about children's literature as narrative tool in education in aspect of pedagogic dimension. So the first point is in the globalization era, characterized by deep social economic changes and collapse of the traditional social issues such as new norms or new form of poverty, increase of inequalities and family mobilities and others of etc. And then the cultural heritage of the folktale, which is easily available for both parental and teachers' use, and it also could represent a helpful tool for promoting individual personal growth, social cohesion, and sustainable development. Next is that we were told that tales were told and are still told in every society and in many different settings to share experiences, customs, norms, and value, which is providing the listener with entertainment and new knowledge. And then in the culturalistic perspective, children's story belong to a specific culture niche that could help young people to move into the life, which is allowing them to understand who they are as a human being and how they can contribute to the progress of the world. And then the third one is that children literature continues to be a significant opportunity of presenting moral principles in an enjoyable and engaging way and is growing fast along with the aim to entertain, educate and provide new knowledge, which is in line with the new concept of the edu entertainment. And then we can see that it also being able to integrate fun and adventure demanded by children, which is simulating an activity of the free play or role play, which is the other objective of offering them as a moral example. And then the fourth one is a big part of children literature is represented by the fairy tale, which have the final goal of transmitting the basic universal values and raising children's awareness on many aspects of the life. And that's why even before printing, press was invented. Fairy tale has been used by parents to transmit culturally appropriate moral norms to the children from an early age, which is equipping them with the informations, attitudes, skills that could act as a kind of vaccinations against all the kind of threats to individual or collective health. So continue with the previous slide. So there in the pedagogical dimensions, tales are very interesting for children because they show a real aspect of family and community life, which is reinforcing the relationship or the relation with the parents and highlighting the ethical values which is related to the social life. And then through the implicit meaning, it also embodied in the story, which is student or children indirectly acquire the pedagogical messages and they are able to influence the global personalities and stimulate the social sense of duty. And then the next one is children's stories are the place of the endless possibilities so that young people can open their mind to wide horizon, which is they can generate new viewpoints find a possible alternative or solutions to problems, and cultivating their points of strength, such as self-confidence and resilience. And then the last one is the role and importance of children's books have changed in a modern society. But even today, children's literature, including movies and digital resources, influence our daily life and contributes to the development of young people in a number of ways, which is the first one is the ranging from the transmission of value to didactic purpose, and the presence of the digital technologies is also represent a challenge but also an opportunity for a traditional fairy tale or fable existence. And digital storytelling, which is the combinations of the art of telling stories with a variety of multimedia tools, is very helpful instrument to generate more appealing and stimulating learning experiences. So that's all from me. Thank you. Now I will pass it to my group member Alia.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Susanna. My name is Nur Alia Mintiaya, number metric 147276. And for our fifth and final points on the benefit of sharing international literature towards local children is that I believe that it can help to break harmful stereotypes and negative perception of other culture, religious belief, including gender. So before we begin, what is the actual definition of harmful stereotypes? Well, according to the European Institute of Gender Equality, harmful stereotypes are defined as hostile and both negative intonation or connotation of certain culture, religious belief, and gender. So, for instance, nowadays, in the West especially, they believe that Islam is a religion of terrorists, when in fact it is not. And because of that, it caused harmful effect and stereotypes towards this individual or community, and it caused an individual to feel mistreated, to feel abused, and causes the emotional and physical state to be in a bad shape. So, in my opinion, if we were to expose foreign literature towards local children, especially at such a young age, I believe that we are able to generate more idea from them and help them with their higher order thinking skill, their, as Irina said before, their cognitive thinking skill to judge what is right and what is wrong. And through that, we will be able to shape and develop new generation of emphatic, of humanitarianly good generation. And this could also benefit not just humanitarianly but also politically and economically as we build a relationship in a foundation of trust and understanding. So how do foreign literature help breaking down these negative stereotypes? Well, for once, we know literature is actually a collection of written work. It can either be a poem, it can either be a novel, or it can either be short stories. So through there, the story or the written work will always came from one's imagination. It came from an individual who expresses their memory, who wanted to share their feeling and experiences through their characters or themselves. And everybody can write literature despite one's background, religion, moral beliefs, and so on. And because of that, it helps to provide a lot of perspective towards these local children later. And it helps them to form their own opinions. They are able to think for themselves. And like Fia said before, it became an eye-opener for them to think there is something more than their environment. There are other people living their life different than them. And it helps to build a higher cognitive ability to think and judge what is right or what is wrong and what is in between. So through that, it can help to break these harmful and negative stereotypes of certain culture that children often heard from their media, from their own community, their society, because they didn't really have a lot of knowledge about this culture, about this religion, about this issue regarding gender. So through literature, they are being exposed, especially international literature. They know what was going on outside of the world. And because author or writers often implement part of themselves, part of their imagination or the experience and point of view in their characters. Children who are studying this literature, they are studying the characters background, they are studying the themes and moral of the story. They will be local children will be able to form an understanding and thinking that not everything is what they expect it to be, what they often heard. So it breaks down those harmful stereotypes and help to shape them to be more understanding. It helps to build a sense of togetherness, empathy, relatability with this character that they are being shown in the story, and a form of belonging with one another. So an example of this is the Diary of Mayan. So Diary of Mayan is actually not a children literature; it's more towards young adult. But this story helps me, especially me and my younger person that I know, to break down harmful stereotypes of Chinese people. As in China, we often thought that people are living in the city often because it is a very industrialized and economic fast-paced country. We never really pay attention about the poverty that is going on. And through Mayan's eyes, ideas, and opinions, her diary, we are able to see what is actually going on, how she is able to create this relationship, this relatability, especially in a country that I have similar experience as her, as Mayan, on the thought of poverty, of going to school. And with this, it become a symbol of liberation to them, to the children, to local children, to break these harmful stereotypes and benefit themselves humanitarianly, physically, and economically, and socially. That is all from us. Thank you very much.